to. Okay, the spotlight. So I'll do this. Basically, I go over 3 different sharpening systems today. The Tormex style
do that.
wet sharpener, Wolverine with the CBN wheels, and the Sorby Pro Edge. So we'll start with Sue on the Sorby Pro Edge, and she tell you all about that and how she uses it, how wonderful it is, and we'll go from there. So let me move the cameras around. These were meant to be on a lathe.
This is the system. It's obviously belt driven. Right here is, you've got all these holes on the side.
Let me switch cameras for you. Okay. Not very good, is it?
No.
How about that one? Okay, there we go. So talk to that.
Okay. I picked this system because I was having trouble with the others, and if I couldn't sharpen anything, then I wasn't going to be able to turn. This basically is simpler to use. You have all these holes over here on the side, and you have a, oh, is there any way to put the camera so we can see it? Take it off.
Put her up on the table, like, maybe remove it. Need somebody to hold the camera to it.
Yes. I can't see what I'm looking at. Or which-
I'll switch the camera around.
All right, on the side of the machine.
More people over here.
We have holes. Very easily switch this. Unscrew this, and you can pick any of the holes you want. But then that changes your angle right here. Also, in the front, if you forget, all the angles are, for the holes are labeled. Does anyone who happens to be old and aged?
Did you guys hear her? You guys hear okay?
I don't hear any answers.
You guys hear Sue okay? No? Guess that's probably a no.
Not right now.
Let me switch.
Okay. Turns on and off very easily.
Can now. Hear her now.
And it's sharpened. And it's duplicated. This, if you want to do just a scraper, you change the angle. Again, turn it on. And it's sharpened. You go right back to turning. So basically, it's easy to use once you set it up for this. Most of your tools you will sharpen on this platform, either with this, with this piece. This is for your skews. My only objection to this system is I've had these fall out, get caught down underneath, and take some wear off the back of these pieces. Your fingernail grind, this will do also your standard skew for, but for your fingernail grind.
How come you're not up there? Because the cameras are facing that way. Oh,
All right. So I'm gonna move this over behind here. There we go. Okay. Before you get that, but a question about the belts.
Yes, they come on and off, probably take you back 2 or 3 minutes to change them. I've got 3 over there. This one's a 240, which is a fairly fine one. I've got a ceramic over there, which is around 80 grit, which takes metal off really fast if you want to reshape a tool.
And you buy them from Sorby or you get them?
You can get them anywhere, craft supply, woodcraft.
They're made by
They're all made by Robert Sorby for his machine. But this one is at a 45-degree angle. Right here. Basically. Want a 45-degree angle, you just measure it out, screw it on. And then turn it on. Here we go. I'm done. So if you're not a great sharpener, this is a great tool.
Looks like it.
It is. Any questions?
What do you do with your best grinder?
What do I do with what?
Your best grinder.
It's underneath. But like I said, I had a wheel root system and then my wheels kept wobbling. We kept trying to fix them and it was like, I give up. So I talked my husband into buying me a very nice grinder.
Sure enough. What's the cost of that unit?
I'm guessing, I should have looked it up for you. It's between $300 and $500.
A lot of bucks.
It was a big present. He asked me to cover Christmas too, and I told him no.
When you take, I just recently bought this Raycon and then added 2 CBN wheels. You're still around the $400 mark. $400. No, but well worth it, but you're still talking a couple $100.
Right.
And how much are the bills?
They vary a lot. There's 3 different grades of them, so some may be $5, some may be $30.
How long do they last?
These ones not that long, they're really expensive. I'm not gonna go over the other tripod. He told me, I was watching someone says, you can take this off and wash it, then dry it and put it back on. So you get what you pay for. So I use these a long time. Usually when I take it off, it's like, oh, there's not much sandpaper there to sharpen it. That was put on today, and the cubic zirconium, the other one over here. I bought them when I was doing the ball training class. I didn't know what I would need. Look at this one. Really heavy. That will reshape a piece very quickly.
We'll be taking nickel off pretty quick too.
Oh, yes. I've been looking so far. Only metal that's been destroyed. I bolt out.
No guesswork.
Right. You just have to set it up. And if you set it up for the tool you're using, it's really fast and back.
I wonder if your tools would turn different, because you do it on a wheel, you get the hollow grind. With that, the bevel is flat.
Yes.
I wonder, if it affects how you turn.
Probably, but.
I guess what you're used to, right?
Yeah, I think that's the most important. You get the same thing every time.
Right.
Whatever you're used to, you get.
They are cheap, but they do last.
Any other questions from?
And this is the one that's washable. It's supposed to give you a very, very sharp edge.
What's the right?
Yes. They give it.
Thank you. Okay, Elliot, do you want to show the wet grinder?
Sure. Doesn't bother me. You want to pull it away from the electrical bits? Are you concerned about that?
It's slow enough, it shouldn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't spray water, does it?
No. Water goes in.
Yeah, that's the advantage of the wet grind system. This is a wet grind system. We got it donated to the makerspace several years ago. It really wasn't used. It wasn't even in shape until like last year. So I took it upon myself to read the manual and watch YouTube videos and stuff on how to use it. But the main advantage of a wet grind system, obviously, is because there's water involved. Because there's water involved, you don't get the heat build up in your tools. But for turning tools, that's not really relevant. With high-speed steel, you're not gonna lose the temper on your tools. This is really a good tool for chisels, for knives, for plane blades, for axes, for draw knives, for squirps, for whatever, a number of tools. For turning tools, we do have mostly adapters for that, but I would say I would prefer any of these over before I use this. The Jet is not as good as the Tormek, and I think that's the difference between the $500 price of this and the $800 price of the Tormek, but it's still good enough to give you an edge. It consists of, this is the wheel, and there's a little bucket here that keeps you water, and the wheel, the stone actually soaks up at least a pint of water when you first put it in, so you have to keep adding water at a certain level here. This is the sharpening wheel. It's a leather strap. I adhere to this plastic wheel. You put mineral oil on it, and you put your charging goop, whatever it is on there. You're not going to really use it for a lot of the turning tools anyway. So again, more of a chisel and gouge. This is good for gouges too. carbon gouges because there's a specific tool accessory to do that. This bar, first thing you do when you use one of these, is you got to make sure that this wheel here is true. And the way you go about doing that is simply just bringing the bar down and making sure that it's parallel, wheels parallel with the bar. So I drew this last night, so really don't have to do it now. But there's a gadget in here that allows you to do that. Set it up in here. Bring this down, and then simply get it parallel to the stone. You turn it on, and then you just move this back and forth, and it'll chew the wheel up. But I did that last night.
So that's considered dressing it?
Yeah, it's dressing it, same thing. Chewing the wheel. All you want to do is make sure it's perfectly flat and parallel to a reference like this bar here. This is where you would sharpen your chisels and plane blades and knives and stuff. Use the bar up here. For any turning tools, also after you're done getting trussed, there's an abrasive stone here. This is the rough side. If you want a more aggressive cut, you just rub it on here as the wheel's moving. If you want a less aggressive cut, you do the smooth side. It's really all it is. We have a couple of gadgets here. One to figure out what's the angle on whatever you're trying to sharpen. And then you can measure, make sure you have that angle once you have it on here. It's just a way of adjusting and make sure you're in the right angle. Again, not as much for turning tools. So for the turning tools you can sharpen, the accessories we have are basically going to be gouges, mostly. You can't. We don't have the. There's one. There's a plate that attaches up to here. It's a plate that sits on here, and if you consider it like that, you can take your roughing gouge, place it against the plate at the angle, and grind that way. Turn it to a roughing gouge. For things like scrapers or parting tools, you don't really want a hollow grind on them. So the plate fits down this way. And you just take these and do it on the side of the wheel, like that. That way, and then turn it that way. Same thing for put it on the wheel here. And just grind your scrapers the way you want. So I'm not going to demonstrate that because we don't have that attachment. But for spindle gouges, simply accessory fits over here. Just tighten it vertically. The vertical so you get it. And like most of the other, like the Wolverine jigs, there's an attachment that goes on here. This is set at 2 1/4 inches. If you wanted to do a bolt gouge, it's more like 1 5/8 inches. But it really depends on your preference. But all it is you put it in here, turn the machine on. Well, you want to make sure that you pull this out so that you match the bevel on the tool to the stone. Tighten it up. Then you can turn your machine on. See that as the machine turns, it goes through the water. So again, eliminate any heat buildup. Simply just put it in there. Like it's right. your bevel. That's really all there is to it. It's not that complicated, but again, I would prefer the other systems over this one for tools, for turning tools. Definitely, I prefer this with chisels, plane blades, and knives and scissors and things like that. It's really good for that. So. Any questions about this? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the next one we're gonna look at is, this is the, originally this was a woodcraft grinder. Now I guess they sell a Rikon one about the same price range. It's 130 for the, 130 was not on sale. It's on sale just over 100 usually these days. It comes with white wheels like this one. 120 and 80 and 120. And then this one has the Wolverine system, which I forgot my paragraph. Because of these two bases and this small arm goes on. Something is.
There you go. Good to you.
There's something in there. Didn't like moving it off a bench. You lock it in there and then you put your gauge into one of these. Best bodies pull down. Donate to one to the Freddie Griffin, one to the bigger space. So, and depending, I have two different stocks of mine. One for Thompson tools, which has a 1 3/4 reveal, and one for everything else 2 inches digital elsewhere. Elsewhere formula. So to put it up here. I'm right at that 2-inch mark. And then what I normally do here is important is always get things the same place every time. So what I do is I have the peppers I got from Eddie, and then I basically just 2 pieces, one shaped. Here's where I see that. It is 2 prongs. There's the leg, the whole, put together so that I always got the same distance away from the wheel. The whole gouges and what my spindle gouges. If I use the bowl gouge one, so just put it on. So I'm always at the same distance away from my wheel.
Where did you see that from?
Pat Eddie's website. It's PatEddieCastle.com. What you're really kind of what it really is. These are the raptors for power supply. And there's this for 43, 45, 58, 60. You buy those. But I really don't care what they want to hold out. So it's always the same every time. when I do it. So this way, when I start spinning, I always get the same angle. And what we'll do is I'll actually show you how I grind this one. Right now, these are set. These have a conventional grind on them, which if you're a new turner, is not a bad place to start. Because you can actually sharpen this. The platform, it's like a running couch. So but we'll look at that. For a while. There it is. No, there it is. So anyhow, so if you know, you can set the state or whatever angle you want, and you just take this and you just rotate it. And that'll give you. That's a real simple grind if you're a new turner, and you don't get the benefits of the wings going back. But you know, if you don't have a sharpening system, just use a sharpen the gouge. It's nice and sharp. Turners still use it, by the way. I'm a high turner. All she does, all hers doesn't have any jigs. So she go over, she sharpen real quick, and back turning. They actually give a real nice cut too. But the whole thing is you keep all getting the right angle. Typically, we put the fold out and you got your joints for or whatever. And this arm sets the high angle of the blades. And we'll just talk about that stuff because there's a little bounce stuff.
Just like Tom, he's sharpening Thompson tools and Ellsworth tools. And you notice at his distance, he had to stop the machine. I got tired of stopping the machine. I set up a jig, the same jig that he has, the one-way Wolverine jig. And once I had the angle set, I glued a block of wood to that angle. So all I have to do to change from a Thompson to an Ellsworth is just push it against that block of wood that's been glued to the piece. So it's always in the exact same place. I'm setting my distance with the gouge. Grab one. I always have the exact same distance from here to here, if it's an Ellsworth or if it's Thompson. I always know it's a repeatable distance. But the key for me anyway is I only sharpen once. The rest of the time I'm dressing. That saves metal. I don't want to waste any metal. I sharpen it sometimes on an 80. And then forever after, unless I hit a nail or something in the wood, I'm just dressing a thousandth of an inch. And I set the distance of the pocket while the machine is running. I don't even bother shutting it off. I set the pocket with a little gauge like that, and I can come in and do my sharpening. If I want to switch over to a Thompson grind,
You say John, we talk about that?
Thompson. Thompson.
I didn't know he had his own brand.
Yeah, Doug Thompson's recommended angles are different from Ellsworth, and his distance to the pocket is different. And without having to shut down the lathe, simple, keep the turning tool turning. I don't have to set it, get the distance right. I just use the stop. That's always at the repeatable distance. Again, my turning technique is all about repeatability. Whatever I use, I do the same with the same tool. I also have the robo rest on my machine, and I use that with a set angle, and I write on the tool what angle I set it at, whatever, if it's a skew or a scraper or a gouge, it doesn't matter. If I'm using the robo rest, it's written right on the tool what angle I'm using. So I always go back to that same angle. And it doesn't matter the degree of accuracy of that angle, it's just the repeatability of the angle. The width's not going to matter if it's 55 degrees or 57 degrees, 62 degrees or 60 degrees. A target angle that you're used to, but it's repeatable. Because the muscle memory is the important thing. To repeat the cut, and so your muscles remember what angle you're at.
Any questions for Ken? What do you think the advantages and disadvantages are between the Thompson and the Douglas, those two?
Thompson and Ellsworth, very difficult to know the difference between one and the other. I think it's ego of the two turners. I could be wrong, but I think it's these.
I'll second that one.
Yeah. One turner says, "Oh, those angles are no good."
So do you have gouges in both?
I've bought Thompson gouges at a show. I've bought Ellsworth gouges from Ellsworth at demonstrations, and rather than regrind them and change the angles that they have set when you get them, I change, and I keep the Ellsworth angle and distance. The Thompson, I keep the Thompson at his setup, so I'm not grinding away, wasting metal. Because it's probably a good 1/8 to 1/4 inch of metal. If you're changing from one to the other and back and forth, you're wasting a lot of good expensive steel. So I just keep that angle the same, and just, again, it's all about repeatability and muscle memory.
Can you show us how you dress the tool? Do you have them?
Always dress the tool.
Yeah, just demonstrate.
I'm using these wheels, so I'm not dressing the wheel.
No, you said you sharpened it and then you hold the
Oh.
tool.
I have to understand. Let me do this one. By the way, here's another tip for you. When you're traveling with tools, protect the edge. Just a piece of rubber hose. It's really simple. Piece of foam hose. Wrap it with a rubber band. It'll protect the tool. Keep from tearing up your travel bag. Another difference between the height of this wheel and the height of my wheel might be enough to cause a bit of wear, but we'll see. Another thing, when I'm sharpening, I always paint the end of the tool before I sharpen it with a marker, just so I know what I'm doing. And I always wear glasses when I'm sharpening. Safety glasses. This happens to be so I'll set the angle for T, Thompson, lock it in. my distance. With the Thompson pocket. I don't know what grit this is.
Yeah, don't ruin your tools.
That's an 80 grit.
This is 120 if you want
If that's 120. It's what we see with the machine, but 100% of the heat has been wiped off. That's how repeatable this process is. We're using the same fixture. So I'm comfortable with the distance. It's repeatable, doesn't waste a lot of metal, and the edge is sharp. Any other questions?
Just a comment. Being a new turner, learning the technique on how to move your body when sharpening. For instance, I have a little chain as well. And I wear an apron. And so I often catch the butt of my gouge in my apron as I'm moving sort of, because it's swinging in this direction. And so it's just another, it's just basically an observation that you can screw it up,
Oh, yeah.
even with all the jigs and all that. But you have to learn what your body needs to do. Sort of, it's like a dance.
And for the new turners, it's important to understand that the jig doesn't control the way you sharpen the tool. Your body that does it. The jig is just a guide. If you wanted to get a very sharp point or a blunt point, it's the same jig. It's the same process, but it's the way you fold it, and you turn it, and the way you concentrate the energy, either on the side or in the center, as you're running the tool past the wheel. That's important to understand that function. Don't count on the tool or the jig to control the shape of the tool.
One other observation, also still being a new turner from 2 minutes ago, I realized that if I do my pole gouges, basically the same Ellsworth run I'm running at, and then my scraper at whatever angle that is on the bed piece, whatever that part of that pole is like, yeah. If you don't ever have to move those, you get the consistency every single time. I just keep my left side for my gouges and my right side for my scrapers, and don't ever fuss with that.
Ron Marcoux is in the audience, I'm sure. He has his setup that he never changes
Yeah,
when he's sharpening his scrapers.
he's got double stack,
Yeah, exactly.
ready for anything at any given moment.
I don't have that much space or that many wheels, so I use something that'll give me repeatability to do what extra machine or extra setup would do for you. These things here with well marked, so you remember what they are. I have screwed up. I used the wrong distance on the wrong tool. That's where you get into the habit of always painting together, so you know right off the bat whether you're screwing up as you're cutting it. And much of that uniform.
As you use the tools more, Jim, that block's gonna shrink a little bit.
No, it's always the same distance. What happens is you end up with a tool that looks like.
I'm sure it's my first pole. Yeah.
We have similar bowl gouges.
Yeah.
Where he's ground his down, I've ground mine down a lot also.
How how long did you have?
This is a Fed's Best, and this is only like over a year.
Oh, got it.
But I mean, that's the big difference between a Fed's Best and a Thompson or a D-Way.
This was a,
D-Ways are 4 or 5 years old, and they're still, maybe an inch off.
Marcel's in the audience, and I don't know if you can. I got this when Marcel and I were turning over the woodcraft. I don't know, how many years ago, close to 20 years ago, so. And I learned how to sharpen, and I learned how not to repeat what I did with my new tools.
Thank you. Any other questions from the Zoom crowd? You do that, Marcel. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over a little more. This is the roller. Unfortunately, the guy who made this is not making it anymore, but supposedly somebody else picked it up. But what it basically is it just has folds on it. And they're basically times 10, whatever. You put it under, you put out like 4.5, that's 45 degrees, more or less. So what I do, the roughing gauge. So the roughing gauge instead of 5.5. So I just read it right there. I know if I put it, this is a 5.5, and I put a different wheel, I'm going to be pretty close to where that angle was originally. Sharpen this. So. I'll sharpen that. So now originally, the way they told you to sharpen roughing gouges was to put this big arm in here.
So they make it so long, right?
And then you put the tool in this arm and you lean it against here. Now, the trouble with that is this tool keeps getting shorter. And if you don't remember to move the arm in, all of a sudden you go to sharpen your gouge one time and it's going to go down and pop between your wheel and the jig. Pardon, that's not your CBN wheels. So I don't do that anymore. They recommend you don't do that. So now basically they recommend you use either a table or something like that. So I'm on the table. I didn't have all these jigs and stuff on the table, so I wanted to different angle on this. So I found this online. I really liked it.
I put my table in the drawer, and I was taking it out.
Yeah, the rubber rest is really nice. Basically put that on, and it's set for.
That wraps around the wheel too.
Yep. So that's for 5.5. I find it great. Johnny's doing it great. Oh, like, the scorpion does it great.
We don't do it black and blue.
For spindle gouge, just go on it and get the table. A couple nice easy passes. And it's open green, but the edge is pretty big, so I know the edge got sharp. So I'm ready to go. So the two little quick. We'll do something. For its Q, same thing. working on this one. It ranks like 2.5 SKUs. So I only do the SKUs that cross on the wheel. Then every other time. Next up here, this is- And this is a CBN home from D-Way. With 360 grid on here and 600 grid on here. And with whatever I use my SKU, I just set it up. About 4 or 5 on each side.
So what's the stone called now?
It's a CBN home. And that's some D-Way tools. I think it's like $65. But it's important. It'll last forever.
Double sided?
Double sided, 600, 360 on that side, 600 on this side. So if you see, nice and, real nice and fine, sharp. So that's why I use, I almost never go back to the graphic. Except for I do have a couple that are, the Allen laser or grind. Those are a lot of the, those are practice. Fiddle gouges, gotta choose this again. Fiddle gouges the same way, and just bowl gouges, but it has different spacing. So see the difference between the angles. There's that bowl gouges, not fiddle gouge. And I do all my fiddle gouges the same basic angle, and I just, well, I do have some that are really keep my catch up. Craziest turn. So now I'm gonna go. So again, this whole gouge. What do you do with it? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna put a nice little bit of salt back right on it. So we're gonna put the straight drive it has now. And put a little bit of salt back after I'll show you after that. Rest of the demo.
So the
So-
straight grind part, it looks just like a roughing edge.
Just like a rough and gouge.
So at the end,
Sharpen it like a rough and gouge. Like what I'm past. That's the round. And I would, if you're just starting, you don't have the sharpening equipment. That'll come fine. Like all these shear sticking and that kind of stuff. So we'll start with the 80 grit stone, and I'll go with the table. And let's do a finger angle. 60 degrees. 60. So I'm going to use the Raptor. It says, I just don't, I'm sure I believe it. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to grind the angle that I want on the tip. Basically, it's like pedal like on that whole typically right angle. Right. One. So now I have a tip down to 60 degrees. Now I'm going to do the next one with down over, roots down. I'm gonna put whatever profile I want on my rings. Now on there. You just grind out, just like the ring. I'm gonna do it on top of the wheel. Okay, so now you see the reflection come back at you. And now the really thick metal back there, and really thick metal back there. Reflection comes back. When we now start spinning my jig and start sharpening it like I'm with it. So already gouged, already spinning gouged. And try to get that down to those are really thin and sharp. When these reflective surfaces go away, that's when you know that you're sharpening.
Let's sit at Thompson angle.
With that,
Let's sit at Thompson.
okay. Next, I got to stop this for a minute. It's my break. Jim never shuts this off. I just use that.
$65 rate.
So I put this in, and I'm on my course wheel right now, and we use this pressure gauge. We try about the 60-degree angle, right there. About right. Because I know I have a lot of metal to keep away on the sides. Really not much to keep away on the nose. So I'm going to focus on the sides first and not touch the nose for a while. So, there you go.
No, she's not pulling it down. No concern
No.
about it.
Nope. But high speed still, you shouldn't quench.
Sorry?
You shouldn't quench high speed still.
Okay.
And of course, you want to make sure you get it so it's symmetrical. And then, what I'll probably do this time if I was home, I'll switch over to the 120 grip wheel. Do my final sharpening over there, but we're going to step up to 80 grip for now. So I'll probably adjust the nose. Pretty good. Now, the last thing I'm going to do for hole gouge, you have this heel here. It doesn't do anything for you. So what I do is I just move my arm in maybe like an inch or so. And I go back. Get that heel off a little bit. Now I'm going to the bottom of my hole. I won't hit that. I won't get the full mark. That's basically it.
That's removing the heel part. Is that something that you have to do from time to time as the fold down gets shorter?
Yep, and then you grind off toward the nose. That'll bring it away. Just sort of, yeah. It's
I'll add a little bit of something there for you. For a new turner, you like to have that much bevel rub as you can get. But understand that as you get down into the bottom of the bowl, you're going to be burnishing the wood as you turn in the corner, and you can't sand that burnish mark out. But as you develop more and more experience as a turner, you'll reduce the size or the length of that bevel. And the way I do it, take your glasses on. Once I got the shape I want, I got the sharpness I want, I just come up to the wheel. I'll do that. Take it right out of the fixture. And it works. And sometimes I'll even round it over around a bit. And so it's quite round, quite smooth. And in fact, there are guys whose name is who sells a whole fixture with 3 holes in it. Sells turning fixture for doing his special dry. Not what I did without a fixture.
I have a 80 and 120 grit. I think it's total 1.5 but there's 2. I have the round corners, which I never use. Does anybody use the round corners? You do? What do you use it for? I've never used the rounded edges, so I'll think my next one I'll probably just get they have wheels that have some on the side, some grit on the side.
Round corners were good for if you're doing like a round nose scraper. So you can do the end and then just kind of ride it off the side of the
Okay.
wheel. And get the round edge.
Okay, yeah, I've never used the rounded edges on it, so I might keep one of them. But the next one I'll get some grit on the sides. I can do a flat grind on my skews that way.
I use it for beading too.
Okay, that makes sense.
Tom, have you ever worn out a CDM wheel?
No, I mean, these are 4 or 5 years old. I like to get something a little bit finer than the 120. Maybe up to like 320 or something.
Have you found anybody that sells them for a reasonable price?
Woodturning Wonders. We are buying.
They usually do almost like a 2-for-1. It's almost half price.
He also has something called a sparking drill, which is a real, I'm not sure if it's plastic or, but I mean, it's a cheaper wheel itself. These are full aluminum, and they're more expensive ones, but he has some, that, probably great for introduction. I'm not sure how well they wear. But they're under 100 or just over 100. They're not all wrong. These are closer to 200 each.
I think I got from Woodturner, where they have both. They run a special, they run it about every 6 months.
That's nice.
I don't know what the quality is different, fine, but I had mine for about 3 years. They do just
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, it's in the last. Now, I don't think I would get anything finer than 320. Some people say you have to do 600, and I don't think you would take enough off. So I don't think it would help that much.
Plus, after about 2 cuts, it's not gonna be sharpened to that 600.
Right. Right, that's the other thing, and also, at some point, you have to take some metal off of there to keep the shape. Because if you don't take enough metal off, then you'll start getting dips in your wings and things like that, so I'm not sure 600 is even a good idea. Some people like it.
Well, they sell them for really like something different.
Yep. But, so, any questions, or? Anybody want to try something? I've got a bull gouger.
Hey, Tom,
Yes,
can I just show something?
sure.
Okay, so I use traditional grind a lot. Okay, I don't know if you can see me. Okay, so I use traditional grind a lot. And I use 45 degrees. Okay, that's just like Tom did with the platen. Then I use bottom feeders, which is not a sharpen angle. And basically what I did is, here's the platen, and it's set. I have 4 stations, they're set. I don't adjust anything. To go from a traditional feeder to a bottom feeder, that changes my grind angle. Okay, so with that little step thing, 2 seconds, I go from, whatever. I just wanted to show that. Okay, and it's a piece of aluminum, a couple of magnets, epoxied in there, and so I don't adjust anything. I have 2 different REM Wolverine thingies, and my skew and negative rake shapers, or negative rake scrapers use the same angle. So I have, I don't do adjustments.
Just real quick comments. Go back here a little bit. What Rob was talking about, if you have like a 40-degree grind or 45-degree grind, you start going down into a bowl. Once you get to a point where you hit the side of the bowl, your angle is too low. So what you need to do there is you either start with a sharper angle, like if you're 60 degrees, and you further into the bowl, or you can go that far with that gouge, and you have something called a bottom feeder gouge. It'll have a 60 or 70 degree angle, once you finish up the cut, not hitting the side of the bowl. That's what you mean by a bottom feeder pro.
What's the angle you have with the bottom?
65 or 65.
So can you talk a little bit about the advantages of the swept back weights versus with all the different shadings?
But if anything with swept back wings, and I guess David Ellsworth, he didn't come up with it, but he made it popular in the United States. All the Irish strangers. But the thing is, you can actually do the whole bowl without letting out. That was his thing. So he can use the big wing set and call up once the wood starts, then go through it, make better cuts with the nose, and at the end you can do a shear scrape. The other way. So that is, you know, you start cutting out this way, you move it to the nose to get your finished cuts, and then shear scrape the other way. So you can do all that with one job of it.
And then, so the difference is pretty much in Ellsworth, Irish, fingernail, they're all sort of.
Price is different.
I mean, they're all the same shape, right?
Same idea, and some are, I think David Ellsworth is more, he has more of a weight, I think, that's true. That's what.
Yeah, a longer way. It did weight, the Ellsworth ran about 3/4 of an inch weight. Maybe even a full inch.
Yeah. So, but that's the answer. Now, there are people who argue that there's all kinds of differences. And you have to use the Irish grinder. You know, not about it, came up with it. But yeah, basically, we're providing uses for all. Any other questions?
Full training class, I took, they had to use 3 different angles going down to that, now that's full line.
Yeah, I like to see that.
You had to have 3 different.
You're actually close on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that. What I need to use. They may bring something to sharpen. Give one a sharpen.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, she would love that.
go for it.
Come on down. And the camera, just to add a little more pressure. I'll put the camera away.
We actually went a bunch of, does anyone use Stuart Value's 40/40 drive?
Not yet.
Okay. No, I never, well, first part is you have to hand sharpen 40/40. Well, no, the difference is, the nose is 40 degrees, but the wings are also 40.
Oh, right.
So,
There's a freshly chopped 40/40.
yeah, for sure, 40/40. You did it? Did you do them?
Wolverine talk.
No?
The Wolverine too.
Oh,
Okay, how many days did you, Wolverine, you guys do it, right? Ooh.
that's what you get.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. So I can't argue one with the other, so I don't know how.
Really?
It is. Okay, so. Okay, we'll see you guys who are signing off. We went to computer sharpening. We'll walk through it, don't worry. What do you want to try?
Do you have one of these set up at home?
We set up, yeah, that, I can start by, it's on the template.
I'll let them.